Get pause YouTube. So first off, I want to say obviously there are spoilers in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled by any mods that you may not already know have been revealed, or if you don't care like me and you're just excited about these Pokemon, there's actually like 2 new Pokemon in here that I honestly did not even know were a thing until I saw this. So yeah, there are gonna be spoilers like that, which I don't mind to be spoiled because I'm gonna use. These Pokemon are pretty much busted. Like the Ultra Beast, when it says Ultra, they mean Ultra. Like these Mons stats are insane. Like if you really think about it, like it's crazy just what kind of stats these Mons have and what kind of potential they could have, and what you really sit down and think about it. So let me know what you guys think that these Mons will turn out to be in 7th gen. I can see some of these being OU, some of them maybe being Uber, definitely Uber for sure on some of them, and then I'm just so excited. Let's just start this just because I'm rambling. The first Pokemon that we have here is Nihilego, which I did not expect this to be rock poison, since it's obviously like a jellyfish if you look at it, and it looks like it would be a water type, maybe like Jellicent, like a water ghost. I could see that, but rock poison, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's our first ever rock poison type. And all of the Ultra Beasts have this, well, just about every Ultra Beast has this insane new ability called Beast Boost. The Pokemon boosts its most proficient stat each time it knocks out a Pokemon, which I'm guessing is either gonna be its highest stat or maybe when it knocked out that Pokemon. So let's say this Pokemon right here went for Thunder and knocked out an opposing water type. I'm guessing it would gain a +1 in its special attack or maybe its speed. Regardless though, this is like a much better Moxie in a sense, which just makes the Ultra Beast that much better. If you look at the stats on this thing, yeah, sure, it has like piss poor attack and defense, but it has base 109 HP and 131 SPDF. That is crazy. That is more SPDF bulky than a Mega Venusaur, and I know how terrifyingly bulky a Mega Venusaur is. The only downside is I don't think that this can gain any type of recovery, but that, spoilers, that doesn't really matter though, because it still has a base 103 speed stat. It can also run T-Spikes to support your team. It can hit water types because it can learn Thunder and Thunderbolt. Actually, there's new Pokemon, well, another little spoiler, but there's Pokemon that can now have the new weather abilities, which is insane. That's crazy. The thing is so fast, and I can maybe see this being tested out in OU. I could honestly maybe see this kind of staying in OU, because at the same time, it is 4 times weak to spikes. It doesn't really have that high of a defensive stat. Assault Vest, oh my lord, Assault Vest on this thing would be absolutely phenomenal. Like that would be insane now that you really think about it. You could easily go Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Rock maybe, or Hidden Power Eyes, Dazzling Gleam, or even Psychic or Psyshock. It also gets Stealth Rocks. This thing can also be a good anti-lead for any team, and just I can really see this being an absolute monster of a Mon if it for some reason is kept in OU. I don't know why it would be kept in OU. This thing, well, like I said, it does have its weaknesses, but I can definitely see this thing being a really great Mon in the OU tier if it does happen to stay. Next off, we have Buzzwole, which I'm guessing that's how you pronounce the name because it's Buzz and Swole, because look at this thing. It definitely skips leg day every day of the week, and it has an insane physical attack stat at 139. That's about as strong as Mega Agron's, which sits at 140. So this thing is definitely gonna be hitting like a truck. The only problem with this Pokemon, though, in my opinion, is if you look through its moveset, it doesn't really have that good of a physical stab move. I mean, Super Power, Hammer Arm, and Brick Break are pretty good, I guess you could say, but they all have drawbacks, and Brick Break is just too weak. Hammer Arm lowers your speed and then superpower lowers your attack and defense. So I could definitely see this Pokemon being OU. I feel like this is gonna be the Kyurem Black of Sun and Moon. Kyurem Black, of course, is an OU, but unfortunately it's weak to rocks, and it doesn't have that great of a physical stab ice type move that it can use, and it doesn't have that good of a speed stat. And this is where Buzzwole kind of sits. It has insane physical attack and really good HP and defense, but its def is very low, and it's slower than Dragonite, and it doesn't even get U-turn. This thing doesn't get access to U-turn. If you could like choice banded U-turn Buzzwole, like I know they were thinking like, holy crap, this cannot get U-turn. Like this would destroy the metagame. If this would be almost the new Scizor in terms of your bug stab U-turner. So this thing would be utterly amazing if it got U-turn. While Leech Seed did get a very huge buff actually. Leech Seed now does 80 damage and also returns HP. I could see this being Choice Banded or Choice Scarf actually. Scarf the Buzzwole actually kind of sounds pretty good. Of course it would be much better if it had U-turn, but still Scarf could be very decent on this set. You could easily just run Jolly and go Leech Life, maybe Superpower, an Elemental Punch move, or Stone Edge to be able to hit flying types and things like Charizard and Mega Charizard X. What else? You could also go maybe like sub 3 attacks, forcing Pokemon out or running enough HP on the substitute set. Regardless, I don't see this being Uber. I really do think, oh, that's a nice pose. That's actually pretty cool. Holy crap. I actually do think that Buzzwole is going to stay in OU in a 7th gen, and will probably be running either a substitute Scarf or a banded set. I could definitely maybe see a bulk up set tried out. Again, it doesn't have a very good physical stab move. A good thing is though that it's not weak to rocks, it's only neutral to rocks, which is a plus, although it is 4 times weak to flying stab, which of course there's Tornadus, which outspeeds this, and then of course there's Talonflame, which will utterly just destroy this. I definitely do believe Buzzwole is going to be an OU, and it's the swollen Pokemon, which that is just hilarious. I love this thing. This thing is so cool. So next we have Pheromosa, which this is actually, when I saw this thing's stats and the moves that this got, I was like, holy crap, if this is even OU, it's gonna be OU for like 2 hours, and it's going to leave. First off, yes, it has base 37 defense and Spadef, but it has base 137 physical and special attack, and then 151 speed. This thing has more special attack than Darkrai and more speed than regular Deoxys. Now, the only reason I can maybe see this being in OU is because it's a kind of a weaker Deoxys normal. Possible sets on this could easily be Choice Specs. Choice Specs on this Pokemon, if your team does not have priority or doesn't have something that can live any hit from this, which keep in mind, this has more special attack than a Darkrai with Choice Specs, with 2 insanely great stab moves in Bug Buzz and Focus Blast. Then they can also run Ice Beam. It actually has access to U-turn. Now this gets U-turn. This is only slightly weaker than what Buzzwole is. Yeah, Buzzwole's physical attack is 139. This thing could run a Choice Banded set if it really wanted to, with U-turn, with high jump kick, with Leech Life, and just a filler move. It can run sub 3 attacks too. It gets access to Rapid Spin. This thing can wreck your opponent's team while being able to control your hazards. It gets Quiver Dance as well, which again, this, like, if this is OU, this is going to cause you to 100% always run something with priority on your team. Because if this thing can't be countered, it's gonna have to be checked and stopped. Now, much like Buzzwole, honestly, why is this a fighting type? Like, hello, fighting would have never come to mind. Like, maybe Bug Fairy would have been broken. Bug Water even, but Bug Fighting, The good thing about that is that it's not weak to rocks, and it's also not weak to spikes, although it does kind of get shit on by Talonflame, but that's really kind of the only flaw of this, and the fact that it gets wrecked by just about any type of priority. I don't even think you need to run like Timid max speed or Jolly max speed. A mix set on this could actually be very great with like U-turn, focus, U-turn, yeah, U-turn, focus blast, ice beam, hidden power maybe. This thing is going to be an insane monster in OU, in its bit of time in OU. So once it picks something off, it's gonna get the boost, and then you're gonna have to stare this down and be like, well, what do I do? So first off, this thing has 173 base special attack. That is only slightly weaker than Mega Alakazam, which peaks almost at 500 with a base 175 special attack. I have no idea how you pronounce this. Zerkectree, I'm guessing? Okay, so I guess it kind of does look like a tree. But the cool thing about this Pokemon is that while yes, it has an insane special, like, oh holy crap, this thing is insanely strong. Its stats and its defenses and HP are kind of decent if you really look at it. So if this does get played around with in OU, I can definitely see it running a Choice Spec set. Even Choice Scarf is really not that bad. It is a little bit faster than Dragonite, although it will not outspeed mons that are typically around base 90. I can still see this running a pretty efficient Choice Scarf set, just because you can easily go Timid. You really don't need to run Modest with such a crazy special attack stat like that. It also gets Tail Glow. This thing, look, it gets Tail Glow right here. It gets Tail Glow. This thing at +3, oh, like, I don't even want to think about that. That's actually scary to think about this thing sitting at +3. With it having pretty decent bulk, it can live one hit late game, set up a Tail Glow. Like, it doesn't even need to run a lot of special attack. Like, it can run it all in bulk, get +3, and it's kind of like, well, what do I do? It also gets Hypnosis. Come on, guys. You can run Hypnosis, and you can put something to sleep, then Tail Glow, and all you need is Thunderbolt and Hidden Power Ice, and it's a good game. Like, it's over. Like, there's nothing that your opponent can do at that point, late game. This thing is an absolute monster. Like I said, if this is an OU, I can definitely see it being Scarfed or Specs. It also gets Calm Mind. You don't even have to run Tail Glow. You can just run Calm Mind. Maybe like Substitute Calm Mind could be a thing. All you need is like Hidden Power Ice, Thunderbolt, Calm Mind, and either Substitute. It also gets Energy Ball. You could even run Choice Specs Volt Switch. That's what makes a Scarf set or a Spec set that much better on this Pokemon. You can run Volt Switch on this, and it gets Stab from 173 special attack. I'm sorry that I'm emphasizing that so much, but that is insane. And like Trick Room, like you could run this on a Trick Room team if you want to use it on VGC, or if it's even legal for VGC. Even in Ubers, you could try a Trick Room set. Like, this thing is gonna be an insane special attacker going into Pokemon Sun and Moon. So this next Pokemon is a little bit weird, honestly. Celesteela is probably the Pokemon with the most balanced stats all around. It's Steel Flying, which is kind of cool because it does kind of look like a giant building if you really look at it, which is pretty interesting. While I guess it may look like a better Skarmory, I definitely think this is gonna stick around in OU. I could even honestly see this being UU, just because it doesn't get access to any type of entry hazard that I could see from all the moves that are listed for it. Like, if it could even just learn Rocks, that would be really great. On the plus side, for some reason, it can learn Leech Seed. I don't know why it can learn Leech Seed, but that's kind of cool. I can maybe see a defensive Leech Seed variant of this being ran with Toxic, Leech Seed, maybe Protect. I don't think it gets a decent flying stab move outside of Air Slash, which is pretty good if you really think about it. It could even run Flash Cannon if it wanted to. It gets Autotomize, which is kind of At +2, it could outspeed everything up to Jolly Lopunny in the tier, although the only downside to that is that some Scarfers can still outspeed it. And then with Beast Boost, you could get that +1 in your special attack after you KO the Pokemon. But again, it's just, its speed is what I think is really holding it back. I think that, like I said, I really don't think this is going to be OU. I can see this definitely being UU. While its stats are very good, like it has a lot of really good bulk, it is going to be a fat mon. At the same time, it's neutral to rocks, it's weak to fire, it's weak to electric, it's weak to ice. It doesn't have any reliable recovery outside of leftovers or leech seed or giga drain. Like I said, an Autotomite set would be pretty cool. Maybe an assault vest variant would also be a good set to run. It does have a lot of good physical bulk and can easily run flash cannon, giga drain, air slash, along with maybe substitute or hidden power or protect. Leech Seed Toxic would be kind of cool. I think I may definitely try that set out on this mon, being able to just severely wear mons down or just be able to beat things slowly over time. So while it does have very good defensive stats distributed, I really think it doesn't have that great of a move pool, and its typing is just really not that great. But yeah, let's move on to the next mon. So this is Cartana. This thing is actually kind of interesting if you really look at it, because it has the same typing as Ferrothorn, and it has a higher base physical attack than Deoxys attack form, which is 180. This thing has 181 attack and 109 speed. I honestly do not see this being OU, because while yes, it doesn't have good typing for that great of stab moves, I guess Leaf Blade is a pretty decent stab move, but in OU Grass Stab it really isn't all that great if you really look at it. As for Steel Stab, its only best Steel Stab move is Smart Strike, which is 70 base power, which I think is a little bit weaker than Iron Head. I think Iron Head is base 80 if I'm not mistaken. So this thing could easily run Smart Strike, Leaf Blade, maybe Brick Break, or even Psycho Cut. It gets Calm Mind, although it only has base 59 special attack. It's still an option, I guess you could say. It could also even run Sacred Sword, which is base 90, coming off of 181 physical attack is crazy. Then 109 speed. This thing is insanely fast, so I honestly do not see this being in the OU tier at all. So that's why I don't really want to touch too much into it, but I can still see it potentially running some type of set like that, or even running a Scarf set, or it gets Defog. It could also support your team with Defog, so that would be kind of cool. Assault Vest, I honestly think will not work on this. Like, that would be a poor choice of an item. Maybe Akaberry if you wanted to ensure that you would take maybe one physical fire type move, but that's way too risky if you ask me. A Swords Dance even would be pretty cool now that I think about it. That's another potential set with Leaf Blade, Smart Strike, and Sacred Sword even, just to ignore those defense boosts. It gets access to Synthesis, but I really don't see any reason to need to run Synthesis on this Pokemon. I guess maybe a defensive set could be tried out, but I think that'll be inferior to a Scarf set or a Swords Dance set, which I think it can utilize as well. So yeah, moving on to the next Pokemon, and honestly, this Pokemon right here was probably the one Pokemon that I had the most hopes for. Like, I really wanted Gus Lord to be like insanely awesome. I really love the design of this Pokemon. I think it looks really cool, and it basically looks like Kirby swallowed up something, and this is the result of it. It has the same typing as Hydreigon, which is pretty cool because we get another Dark Dragon. I wouldn't have guessed that this was going to be a Dragon type, and then it has 223 HP. While that is a little less than Blissey and Chansey, this thing has way better physical defense, way better physical attack, and special attack than Blissey and Chansey. So again, Assault Vest could easily be run on Gus Lord. The only thing about Gus Lord is that it really doesn't have that great of a move pool. While yes, this thing is insanely fat and I could see it being an OU for a bit, I really think that this over time is gonna drop down to UU. I really think it's going to be used as more of a defensive supportive mon. If it got access to stealth rocks, that would be really, really great. The good thing about this is that Gus Lord can easily be a really good pivot mon. Although it is 4 times weak to fairy, it's also weak to ice and it's weak to fighting, which fighting in general I think is a very, very good typing. It does have pretty decent attack since it is rocking a 101 base attack set. It has access to Dragon Tail, which even just further confirms the fact that it could run more of a bulky spread or an assault vest set, because you really do not need to run any HP on this set at all. I don't think it has access to any type of setup move, which if it did, it would actually make this thing a monster. Like if it got Dragon Dance, I could definitely see a bulky Dragon Dance set being ran, but unfortunately this thing just, I really think it got the poor end of the stick out of all the Ultra Beasts if you really look at it. It could be a very decent supportive mon with Crunch, Dragon Tail, Fire Blast, and even Earthquake for things like Heatran. So while I think that Gus Lord could have been a lot better, it really just, it unfortunately isn't. Like I said, I had such high hopes for this just one Ultra Beast, and it's really not that great. So I don't think that Gus Lord will remain in OU as 7th gen unfolds. But moving on to the final Ultra Beast, and something that I didn't even know existed and probably has one of the coolest abilities actually in Prism Armor, which reduces the power of super effective attacks taken, which means this thing literally has no weaknesses and resists fighting, which is crazy. This thing has really good, phenomenal bulk. It has such a wide move pool. It could run so many different sets. Like, this is amazing psychic type in general that if it did stay in OU could very well get suspect tested. And I really like the design. Like, it looks like it should be a dark type or like a steel type, but like it's a psychic type, and like I want to find out its backstory. Like, choice specs on this would be absolutely phenomenal. It has great special attacks in Psychic and Focus Blast, which already proved just about in Psychic and Focus Blast, which already provide just about perfect neutral type coverage. You could run in supportive set with Stealth Rocks. It could run Calm Mind. You can even run a potential mix set because it has 107 physical attack. It has Night Slash for stab. You could even run Shadow Claw. You could run Rock Slide. You could run Stone Edge. Sword Dance set would be kind of cool. X-Scissor maybe. It gets access to Thunder Wave. We all know how much Yellow Magic is still going to be good even in 7th gen with the nerfs. Maybe not as prevalent. I still think that Thunder Wave is going to be a pretty good move, but I can definitely see this being run as a special attacker. Easily a spec set or a setup set would be really great. Iron Defense, Calm Mind, Morning Sun, and Psychic, like, just get rid of your opponent's dark types. It gets this awesome new move called Prismatic Laser. The only downside to that is that the following turn you can't move, so I don't see people running that at all. But if they did, coming from 127 special attacks, that something is going to get destroyed. So yeah guys, that is my thoughts on the Ultra Beasts and the stats and what they could potentially be and all that. Let me know if you did like this type of video. I do want to do this for the I want to do this for the Guardian Pokemon as well. But yeah guys, make sure to hit the like button down below. Let me know what you thought. With that being said, I will see you all later. So thank you all for watching guys.